Yo, what's up? Welcome back to another episode of the SWUS. Continuing on with college football week 3, Colorado State. This game was wild last year. Let's do it.
Welcome to the SWUS. The SWUS. SWUS. Hey, get the SWUS.
All right, like I said, we got the Buffs on the road in Colorado State for this one. This line is down to 7. It was 11.5 a few days ago. It's down to Colorado State plus 7. Total sitting at 58 or 58.5, depending on your sports book. Due to popular demand, we brought back the pie charts. Not a big fan of this data, but according to the data here, Colorado is no longer the public darlings, apparently. Bets and money percentage both leaning towards Colorado State here. So let's go ahead and get into this one. We'll start by taking a look at what happened last year. It was wild double overtime. Colorado ended up winning 43-35. Both quarterbacks went crazy in the game. There was just a ton of scoring, a bunch of interceptions. It was truly nuts. Both quarterbacks went crazy. There was a lot of touchdowns, a lot of turnovers. It was a wild college football game to watch. Shedeur Sanders against Colorado State last year, 348 yards, 4 touchdowns and a pick. Fowler Nicolosi, 367 yards, 3 touchdowns, 3 picks. The receivers went off. Actually, this is kind of crazy. So Fowler Nicolosi threw for 367 yards. These 3 receivers combined for 373 yards. And if you're wondering how that's possible, it's because a wide receiver threw a 30 or 40 yard pass or something in there. So these 3 receivers actually combined for more receiving yards than Fowler Nicolosi had passing. They only had 4 receivers in the game that had a reception. And on the other side, the Buffs had 4 wide receivers that combined for over 300 receiving yards, and none of them were named Travis Hunter. Travis Hunter actually got hurt in this game. If you remember, there was like controversial hit. Everyone was talking about it. Everything about Colorado was controversial last year. But Travis Hunter got hurt in this game. These 4 guys here combined for over 300. Actually, I think it was 300 receiving yards exactly. So like I said, wild football game last year. And honestly, we should have expected it based on the type of football we were seeing from these 2 teams last year. Colorado was 8th in pass frequency, 19th in pace. Colorado State 5th in pass frequency, 39th in pace. Both these teams were throwing the shit out of the ball, both of them running fast paces. Now, as far as this year, we're seeing something similar out of Colorado. They're actually 3rd in the country in pass frequency, 57th in pace. Colorado State's starting off the season a little differently. They're actually 35th in run frequency, running a much slower pace. But we only seen 2 games, and one of them was against Texas. So I don't know if we can draw any conclusions from the Colorado State offense based on those 2 games. One was against Texas and one was against Northern Colorado. I personally think this rivalry game here, based on what we saw last year, they're going to get drawn right back into the shootout. But let's take a look at the Colorado offensive metrics from this season, and they look kind of like how you'd expect them to look. I mean, they don't run the ball, and when they try to run the ball, they can't. They're actually ranked 132nd in the country in effective rush, 129th in yards per carry. There is no run game here whatsoever. The good news is they're not really trying to run, and they're actually 7th in the country in passing success rate. Overall, though, 80th in OFEI is definitely disappointing for Colorado. We're hoping to see this offense look slightly better than this. I mean, last week against Nebraska was really bad. Shedeur Sanders on the season still has some nice-looking numbers, 689 passing yards, 9.6 yards per attempt, 5 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Look at the right side of this graphic, big-time throw rate, 8+. We know Shedeur Sanders is always down to give us some big plays, and his turnover-worthy play rate's at 8+. So even though he threw a couple interceptions, as a whole, he's not a big turnover guy. I mean, he protects the football. Now, this Colorado State defense has started the season off running a lot of zone coverage, 32nd in the country in zone coverage frequency. Look how good Shedeur Sanders has been piecing up the zone. They're actually top 25 in every major passing metric against zone coverage this year. So all signs point to Shedeur Sanders going off here. And look at Colorado State's defense against the pass so far this season. 123rd in yards per pass attempt, 131st in success rate, 130th in effective pass. By every metric, this is one of the worst pass defenses in the country this season. And you might be thinking, hey, well, Kyle, they played Texas and Quinn Ewers. Yeah, that's true. But they also played Northern Colorado and a kid named Castelli, who I have never heard of. I don't even know who that is. He put up a decent stat line against Colorado State. 11 of 22, 187 yards, a touchdown, passer rating over 151. So it's looking like Colorado State's going to be a really weak defense against the pass this year. And playing the Colorado Buffaloes with Shedeur Sanders, Travis Hunter, Jimmy Horn Jr., that's not what you want to be. So on that side of the football, no question, Colorado has a serious advantage here. But then we get to the other side and we talk about the Colorado Buffaloes defense. And as we know, It's been a little disappointing. I mean, they did look better in the second half. We'll get to that in a second. As a whole, this defense is ranked 104th in DFEI. Definitely a little bit disappointing considering the talent they brought in, but it's only been 2 games. Let's give them some time to mesh. And like I said, they came out of the tunnel after halftime in the Nebraska game and played some solid defense. They held Nebraska on the road to just 104 total yards of offense in the second half. They didn't come back. I think the final score was 28-10 or something. So Nebraska still won comfortably, but considering they were down 4 scores, it's not bad at all. Now, when we get to the Colorado State offensive numbers, this is where I think we need to take these numbers with a bit of a grain of salt. They look terrible. I mean, 125th in the country in yards per play, 113th in success rate, 120th in PPA. Passing numbers look awful. But keep in mind, I mean, they played 2 games, Texas and then Northern Colorado. They did absolutely nothing on the road in Austin, and that's kind of skewing the numbers here because last week against Northern Colorado, they handled their business. They won comfortably, 426 total yards of offense, and it's not like we've never seen Fowler Nicolosi play before. I mean, this stat line on the season, 239 yards after just 2 games, 5.4 yards per attempt, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. This stat line is not indicative of what we know this kid's capable of doing, especially in this very game last year. He was cooking on the Colorado defense last year. So starting off the season on the road in Texas and then playing an FCS program where they didn't need to throw much, I think this is a good spot for Fowler Nicolosi to come back and have himself his first big game of the year. Keep in mind, we saw this kid throw for 3,500 yards last year, 7.3 yards per attempt, 22 touchdowns, 16 interceptions, but 22 touchdowns, 3,500 yards. So like I said, I expect Fowler Nicolosi to have himself a good game here. Now, as far as comparing these 2 rushing attacks, I mean, there really is no comparison. Colorado has no run game at all, and I mean really no run game. They're averaging 16 rushing yards per game. Colorado State's actually been running the ball a little bit. I mean, 3.7 yards per carry. But like I said, I expect Colorado to score points in this game, and I expect Colorado State to be forced to abandon the run to keep up. So I'm expecting Fowler Nicolosi to get drawn right back into the shootout they were in last year, which is why I took the over here. I took it at 58. This is one of the smallest bets of the week. I don't know if I even really like it, but last year's game was awesome, and Colorado's offense coming off the loss, I really think they're going to put up a 40 or a 50 piece in this game, forcing Colorado State to throw the ball. So I think this gets up and over the total. I did bet it, but like I said, it's one of my smaller bets, over 58. If you'd like to see all the bets I currently have open, head over to KyleKirms.com and click on Open Bets. You'll see all my bets as well as everyone on the staff here. Also, if you sign up for Sauce Network Plus, it comes with access to the Discord, and you can participate in the weekly betting league. $150 and one of these trophies go to the winner every single week. So if you're interested, head over to the website and sign up. Live show Saturday morning, 10 a.m. Eastern time. We'll go through every single game on the board. We'll be live from 10 a.m. all the way up to kickoff. If you're able to make it, we'd love to see you in the comments. Let's have ourselves a nice college football week 3. Remember to bet responsibly, and I'll talk to you in the Discord.